The next section in chapter 3 is called States and Properties of Matter. So this is section 3.2. The states of matter are a solid, liquid, and gas. So a solid has a definite shape and volume. So that would be something like a pebble, gold ring, pencil, etc. A liquid has a definite volume but no definite shape. So that's things like water, oil, vinegar, and the gas has neither a definite volume or a definite shape. They take on the shape of the container. And that's things like air, helium, etc. So an example of a gas taking on the shape of a container would be something like inflating a bicycle tire. So the gas molecules would move around until they fill the entire tire. Okay. So the next part of this section talks about the differences between physical properties and physical changes and chemical properties and chemical changes. So first we're going to focus on physical properties and physical changes. So a physical property is a characteristic that can be observed without affecting the identity of the substance. So physical properties include things like shape, the color of the object or substance, the melting point, boiling point, freezing point. Okay. And size. So these are all things that you can observe without affecting the identity. So melting point is the point at which the substance would melt. Boiling point is the temperature that the substance would boil, and freezing point is the temperature that the substance would freeze. Okay. Some examples of physical changes. So, physical change um, is a change in the physical properties of the substance, but it doesn't change its identity. So, for example, water, if you boil it, then you create water vapor, which is a gas, so that's a change in state from liquid to gas. Freezing, so you would create a solid, so that's going from a liquid to a solid. And then you can also melt your ice, and that would be going from a solid to a liquid. So in all of these scenarios, the state of the water changes, but it's still water. It's still H2O in all of those situations. Okay. So chemical properties and chemical changes. A chemical property describes the ability of a substance to change into a new substance. So an example of a chemical property is like iron has the ability to rust. And a chemical change, the original substance is converted into one or more new substances. So some examples of chemical changes, like we talked about a little bit in lab, are things like wood burning, sugar, being turned into caramel, and iron rusting, or any metal rusting. Okay, so we'll go through a few examples of this. So we'll just decide whether it's a physical or a chemical change. Okay, so first example, water freezing. This is a physical change, right? Because we don't change the identity of the water. Um, gas bubbles forming, from adding baking soda to vinegar. So that is a chemical change. And the last example is cutting a log for firewood. Okay, that's another physical change. We're just changing the size of the wood, not changing it into a new substance.